Where are yellow boxes allowed to be placed? What makes a yellow box illegal? Let's find out. The Traffic Signs Regulations, or TSRGD 2016, sets out the only locations where yellow boxes are allowed to be placed. We want Schedule 9, Item 7, Part 11, Subsection 6, and here are the permitted locations. The first one is at a junction between two or more roads. This is the most common place that you'll find a yellow box, and on first glance it does seem quite simple, but actually it can be quite complex in terms of the definition of a junction and a road. I'll come back to that later. The second location is at a gyratory system or roundabout. Now again, this may seem simple at first glance, however there is a little known hidden clause in Part 9, Schedule 9, Item 9. Basically, a location like this is not allowed because it doesn't have traffic lights. A gyratory system or roundabout with a yellow box has to be controlled by traffic lights. The third location is essentially narrowings in the road, for example under a bridge where there's only one-way traffic. It's not very common, and I'm not going to talk about this one. The next ones are outside the premises of a fire, police or ambulance station. Pretty straightforward. There is also a separate yellow box diagram which is specifically for level crossings for trains and tram lines. So essentially, if a yellow box is not outside one of these locations, then it is illegal. There have been yellow boxes outside bus garages, and yes, these boxes were enforced, tickets were issued. However, a bus garage is not a permitted location, and these boxes were removed and replaced with keep clear markings. Here we can see a yellow box outside a car park in Hertfordshire. Car park is not a permitted location. The authority had originally proposed to enforce this box until it was pointed out to them that it is not in a permitted location. But let's go back to the main location where we find boxes, which is at a junction between two or more roads. The question is, what is a road? The word road is not defined within the TSRGD. However, there is a definition within the Road Traffic Act 1988, which is any highway and any other road to which the public has access. But still, that's not a very accurate definition. There's quite a good website from a drink driving solicitor which goes over lots of different examples of case law where judges have tried to agree upon a definition of a road. If I just go over some of the examples, it's a road if people do not have to overcome a barrier or ignore a prohibition to enter that place. The land must be open to the public in general and not just a special class of the public. The presence of a sign or a barrier lends weight to a claim that the land is open to a special class of the public and thus it is not a road. So potentially if there's a gate or a barrier there, that's not a road. In one case, the court considered whether the area was maintained at public expense, and if it was private, then that would mean that it's not a road. That's not always going to be the case though. You have a lot of, for example, large retail parks, which are big junctions. They may be private, but most people would consider that the access road leading to it is a road. At this location in Croydon, thousands of tickets were issued. However, the adjudicators declared that this was not a road. It was in fact a private driveway to an office block. However, at this bus garage, the adjudicator decided that it was a road, mainly due to the fact that the public can access it while on a bus or while walking. However, they don't have access to it by a car. So it's an interesting case, and you can see that it's not clear cut what is and what isn't a road. The second question is related to the word junction, and specifically, where does a junction start or end? Unfortunately, junction is not defined in law. Does the junction end, for example, here or here? It's quite a big difference. However, there have been several adjudicated cases that have looked at the definition of a junction in a bit more detail. For example, this one in Richmond, where the adjudicator stated, in my view, extending the box junction by a car length or more beyond the actual junction is neither compliant nor substantially compliant with the requirements. And this box in Barnet, where the adjudicator stated, I'm not satisfied on the evidence presented to me that this junction is compliant with the legal requirements as it extends beyond the junction between two roads. However, as always, one adjudicator's decision does not necessarily influence another, and there have been other adjudicators who've been quite lax with their interpretation of a junction. There was one adjudicator who decided in a case in Waltham Forest that he thought the junction ended where the building started. So imagine a building could be 100 metres down the road, so I thought that was quite a ridiculous case. The main issue here is the fact that the word junction is not defined in law anywhere. So to sort of summarise, a yellow box is not allowed to extend beyond the junction. However, because we don't have a legal definition of junction, that makes it a bit more subjective. However, based on several adjudicated cases, if the box extends by a vehicle length or more beyond the junction, then that would probably render it illegal. If you check my website, you can see lots of examples of where adjudicators have declared a box to be non-compliant with the regulations.